Yeah, we try to have some fun with it. Like I said, you get all this interview stuff all the time. You got to deal with all that. We don't want to put you through that every
It's
time.
hard because I mean, like, it's like I love all you guys. You could give us time to voice, what we got going on. Because honestly, without you, the word don't get out there. So with that being said, but it's like coming home from training, man. I'm tired. I'm a little beat up. We got punched in the head all night. I'm like just trying to not fumble my words. Doing my best.
Want to fight about it?
Fight.
Want to fight about it?
Welcome back to Want to Fight About It, everybody. I am Chris Fox, and as always, right here next to me, Steven Reichel. Look, man, I say it every episode. You grab the guest, and you pick from the top of the pile. Like, there's no low-hanging fruit on this one. Like, you go climb straight up the mountain and grab them out. And
always. We're bringing the redneck back onto the newly formed TSPN here on the Want to Fight About It podcast. So let's have some fun. Let's bring in Mr. Mundell and let's get
the champion, BKFC champion, Dave the Redneck Mundell. Man, I cannot believe you are sitting in front of me, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Just got done training, just got home.
It can't be that bad because you're sitting there with the belt and you've had it for a little while. Couple defenses of it, and really not much of a threat in the way. So look, let's just get it out of the way right now. The question on everybody's minds, question you get asked all the time, the question everybody's talking about: who is the real GOAT, LeBron James or someone else? That's what we need to know. Is it LeBron? Is it Kobe? Is it Michael Jordan? Who's the real GOAT, Dave?
I wouldn't know. I don't pay no mind to it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know you pay some mind to football because you used to play football in high school. So the number one thing I got to know is who's your team.
I don't watch it.
You don't watch it?
Watch
You used to play it. Now, didn't you have to make a choice at some point? I remember reading an article somewhere that you had to decide which way you were going to go when you decided to go into combat sports after playing in high school.
Yeah, I played football in high school, but I don't know, man. I'm just more of a doer than a watcher. Like, I don't want to just sit there and watch it. Like, I want to participate. That's what it's about.
There you go. I got no problem with that. Now, you've participated. I mean, Bellator, you've done CFFC. Now you're doing bare knuckle. What brought you to bare knuckle? I just leave it at that.
It's just intriguing, man. Just when they said they were coming to Tampa, it's just something that I had to try out. And then, just for just like the people watching it, it's just exciting. When you're in there, rush, it's new, it's fun. It ignited that spark all over again. And look where it took me.
That's straight to the top. And it didn't take you, it really didn't take you that long to get there. And I want to ask you, seriously, and I don't mean this I'm not coming at you, but you have kind of voiced your concerns about the competition or lack thereof as you brought your way up to the top. You're very vocal about, calling the other people in your division bums and that there's really not a lot of people that can stand up to you. And you've also said that there are people that just aren't on your level yet. Is there anybody in your division, do you think, one day might get there, even if it's after you're gone?
I mean, there's a bunch of rising prospects, and there always is in the sport, but as a fighter, it's my job to go in there feeling that way. I don't feel like anyone's ever going to be on my level.
Of course.
There's nobody really right now in my division that makes any sense for me to fight. I'm waiting. Well, there's one guy, as everyone knows, Mike Perry. He's a big name, but it's just, I think he's a bum. He's a bum. The way he fights is just trash, and that's the one I'm trying to get my hands on because he's the only one with a name. So if I'm going to be fighting bums, I might as well fight a famous one.
Yeah, I guess. You guys actually used to train together. Were you guys ever friends, or you guys just like the
No,
best of whatever it was
no,
trained
we
together?
didn't. We didn't train together. I would cross train at over in Orlando with the Fusion Boys, who have
Okay.
a lot of UFC fighters over there, and of course he is part of that team. So there's been a few times that we ran into each other in the gym, and yeah, it's what it is. I beat him up in there too. Last time we trained together, he literally got up off the mat. We were doing jiu-jitsu. He got up off the mat and left. He quit and he left.
What do you see as the obstacle? He said that he wants to fight you. You've said that you want to fight him. I believe you both. I don't know. I mean, you obviously have a little more inside intel than I have, being a part of the organization. So what do you see as the real obstacle for why you guys don't have something lined up?
He wants anything to do with me. I think he's scared. I legitimately think he knows exactly what will happen if we fight. He'll lose. He'll get knocked out. And then everything he's worked for is gone at that point. Everyone holds him on such a high pedestal, and he's just not there. He's tough. He's strong, but he's got no technique. He's garbage. And anybody who goes in there that he just knows how to box is going to piece him up.
This is my feelings on it, right? Everybody knows that you two should be in the ring together. You guys are clearly at the top of the heap in the entire thing. Everybody wants to see it. It hasn't happened yet for whatever reason. So unless you got anything else to say about it, I'm really good with it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you talk about it all day. So I mean, if you want to keep talking about it, by all means, but I'm good if we just keep rolling on.
Like right now, man, it's just the promotion. Like he's gonna happen where they're gonna force him to do it, or he's gonna be gone. And at that point, you never know. Maybe he will just hightail it out of there, so he don't get beat up before he's got to go. But we'll see what happens.
Retire from BKFC without actually having to face you.
Try to save some of those brain cells he's got left.
They already gave him a fake belt, right? Right, Dave?
Yeah, right.
They're doing everything they can to cater to him, because they're trying to take care of him because he's bringing eyes to the sport. But he's definitely not the king of violence. I promise you that.
You have said that you train when you train, you're training for the fight, the upcoming fight, but that you also train for the next one after that. Almost like a chess match. You're playing a couple moves ahead. Now that you're at the top and there really isn't anybody left to fight other than that, what do you train for now mentally? Like in your head, what are you training? Where are you training at?
I train just to really sharpen my own tools. I know the game of bare knuckle very well now. I've been in there long enough to where I get things a little bit better than most people. So I'm always just really trying to hone in on like precision, like really touching the targets I want, opening things up, and then I just keep evolving that way.
Last fight question, and then I'm done with fight questions. We'll talk about fight stuff, but I'm done with fight questions. And this is honestly like this reason why I saved it for last. You all the time, post-fight interviews, all this stuff. You constantly are saying that you're not really proud of your performance in this fight and that fight. Has there ever been a fight? Is there one that you can think of that like, yeah, man, I really knocked it out of the park. Like I killed it in that one. And I know you don't want to settle for how you've done. You're always trying to up your game and stuff like that. So I get that. But is there a fight that you can actually?
It's hard, man.
I did good in that one.
I mean, looking back at all of them, like when I rewatch them now, I'm like, okay, I did okay. But I'm my own worst critic. I expect more. So when you're in there and you're actually feeling the energy and stuff like that, there's things that slip by you that you see like, oh, I could have done that differently, or it's just there's always something to grow off of, and I see everything and I try to attack it all if I can, so I just got to keep working, and I believe that's also why I'm champ. Like I don't stop. Like the grind continues.
I think the great ones do that. You're always looking, you're always trying to get better, right? I mean, if you're not trying to get better, then what are you there for?
I'm maybe winning in those fights, but trust me, in the gym, like there's people that whoop my ass, so that's what I'm fighting to be better than.
See, takes a strong man, takes a real man to admit that. Look, I don't win everything. Just because I win everything in the mat doesn't mean I'm undefeated. I'm just undefeated.
I work
I
my
just
ass
got the
off in
belt.
the gym, so
you
I
got
can
to
go out
remember,
there.
Chris, that's why these guys spend all that time to get their butts whooped in these gyms, so they don't get their butts whooped in front of 1,000 people.
One interview I was watching today, you were talking about you drive 90 miles a day, to go to work, get to work, do the things you got to do for work, then get to the gym, get home, do the family thing, and you do that like 6 days a week.
Yeah. I got a full-time job, so I work Monday through Friday. Right after work, I hit up the gym. I work with my personal trainer. From there, I drive out to Tampa, hit shift, and I got to come all the way home to Port Ridge. It's just a giant vicious circle, but it kind of merges all the days into one. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love it. It's my life, and I just working. And one of my favorite things to do is just get to the gym and just move with people, just spar, just zone in and just work.
Everybody knows how you train. Everybody knows what you do. I haven't asked anything that someone else hasn't asked. So my next question is, how many times you live in Florida? You've got kids. How many times have you been to Disneyland?
Maybe once.
See, that's always a story. We have a friend that lives there. He lives like literally minutes from Disneyland. He's been there like one time.
We've been there once, and it's hard to, dude. It's like a tourist attraction, and you go there and you try to see everything you can in the short amount of time, and it's like Clearwater Beach down here. Like, we grew up going there. It's a beautiful beach, but now it's too touristy. We don't dare go over there. It's like, fuck that place.
Well, you got your own little secret local spot. Local spots now, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course.
Out on the boat.
Tell me about the name. The nickname.
Redneck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before I was training, when I was doing MMA, I was training out of another gym, and they gave me a nickname that I went by because if it's given to you, you just kind of keep with it, but I didn't really like it. I was kind of, trained under Jihad as well. He would help me with my striking, and he always called me Redneck. So one thing led to another. That's just, as soon as I got the opportunity to run with that name, we took off with it.
Yeah, what are you going to do, right? Because you're right. I mean, nickname's a nickname, and you can't really, the more you fight it, the more it sticks. So
yeah. I got to ask you, Dave, man, the combat sports world has kind of went a little nuts this morning. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I've seen it.
This nonsense is apparently going to happen.
I would love to obviously fight Jake Paul. Everyone wants to because it's a money fight. It's all noticeable. But and realistically speaking, I want to go spar with the kid. I want to see for myself what he has. On TV, he's whooping everyone's ass. Some people believe he's been working in the gym for a long time under the radar. Some other people think he's just coming out and beating everyone up. And fighting for 10 years, I can tell you that it's either all really fake and he's a really good actor, or he's been doing it for a while and people just didn't know about it. So, but I want to go move with him. I'm intrigued.
Once you spar with him, you know the answer, right?
It
tells everything.
Explain everything. Like, there is times you spar with people when you don't get a realistic look. It depends on how you're sparring. If you're touch spar and stuff like that. But I want to get in there and I want to move hard with him. I want to see what he has.
Did you see what Sean Strickland had to say about Jake prior to all this that got announced this week with Mike Tyson?
I have not. I seen the fight, but that's about it. I really kind of stay out of all the drama shit. I don't really give a damn about it.
Well, basically, I guess Jake and Sean have been trading barbs over social media, and he basically said, he's taking a look at everything. He's just like, I'm not giving this guy the light of day anymore. He's beating up guys that are way past their prime, 2 to 3 weight classes down. He's like, I'm not giving this guy any attention anymore.
Yeah,
the rest of the world's giving him attention, so it doesn't matter if UFC Sean Strickland is. He's kind of been the hot button guy pushing everyone's buttons in the combat sports world the last few months, as it is.
He won the belt and it became relevant. I remember seeing him a few times fight before he fought Izzy because they were running replays, and I just didn't see much. I wasn't very impressed with his style. I feel like he does good because he's unorthodox, so people don't really know how to train for him, but it's whatever. But I feel like also that's the management team. That's their job, to pick these fights that are favorable, but still sell tickets. So like some of these guys are masterminds at it. You know, I feel like it's been done for Mike Perry right now. Like he keeps fighting guys that are big names, but there's always just something that kind of puts it in his favor.
Yeah, it's something like where you have that angle, right?
Right. Fighting Luke, he's a kickboxer, so like he doesn't really know how to box. So you can exchange with him. He obviously you can see he didn't know how to move his damn head, and then he quit because he was a bitch anyways. And then fighting Eddie, which I thought for sure Eddie was going to pull it off, but I thought they had fucked up. But they picked him because they knew he was smaller, so they knew that okay, we have a size advantage here. Let's run in, you know. So they do a real good job at picking relevant people to sell the fight, but knowing kind of what's going on. And it's the same thing with Jake Paul. Like you're getting ready to fight a 58-year-old man. Yeah, it's Mike Tyson, which is why it sells. But I mean, come on, realistically speaking, that's you know, that's
25 years pace
up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard. I know people who are, you know, in their 40s complaining about just getting out of bed, how it hurts. Like that's a big one. And I'm kind of interested.
Wasn't he just complaining when he was helping Ngannou for Fury?
Huh?
Wasn't Tyson complaining like his joints were hurting him from helping Ngannou get ready for Fury?
I probably.
Or maybe that knocked the rust off and now he's ready to go.
Yeah, that's a tough one, you know, but the bottom line is Jake Paul should have no problem beating him up. And I'm kind of interested in watching it to see, like, does Jake Paul really go hard and try to knock this man out? Because or
is there like going to be a respect kind of thing?
Like addition, like they're just
I think he's absolutely going to respect him, at least until he feels it the first time.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Does Mike go in there and really try to knock him out?
Right?
Or does he?
Yeah, because I think you only feel it one time from Mike. I mean, I'm 58-year-old or not.
I don't know.
You get one chance to feel it. I think that's it.
Well, I guess, but that's exactly it right there. See, we're intrigued. We want to know. We are. They're going to watch it. Therefore,
I think the smartest thing is that they put it on Netflix and millions upon millions can watch it. No one's going to complain about how much it is or you can't find it. I think that was probably the smartest thing that both sides did about this, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can be upset that it's Mike Tyson and he's, 60 some odd years old or whatever. Listen, This is entertainment at its finest. This is the kind of fights that everyone's been looking for.
Right. And it sucks that it's kind of became that way because I don't feel like when I was coming up and I was watching MMA and stuff like, I don't feel like it was a popularity contest. I don't think it really mattered, who you knew. It was all about how good you were. And nowadays it seems to be, you have to have both. You have to be able to fight and you got to be able to sell the fight, and I'm learning a little bit as I go. I never really, I guess, busted out of my shell because I'm not that way. I don't sit there and I talk shit. Like I'd rather just fight. Like it's what we do.
You're like, I'm not going to be the dude that looks like Colby Covington. I'm not going to be that dude.
Yeah. And even now, like sometimes like I just feel so cringy doing it. But then there's other times like when I'm fucking running my mouth with Mike, like that's legitimate. Like, fuck that guy. Like he's just an asshole and he's a bum. Like I just want to fuck him up.
Who's someone you like kind of, I don't want to say idolize, but who's someone you like enjoyed watching?
When I first started watching right around the time that Rashad Evans won the belt. So I remember looking up to him. But it's funny because in the beginning of any sport, going back to like football, like of course you watch it and you're like, yeah, this is cool. But the second I start doing it, I kind of pull back on watching it and I just kind of participate. So I was coming up, I was watching like Rashad Evans, and now I don't even know who's in there.
You ain't
Hughes, Franklin. Let's see.
It's like anyone that came up, I guess, on Zuffa era UFC,
GSP
probably has no clue what's going on.
There's another big one that I used to watch, and like the Diaz brothers too. Like,
yeah,
those are guys that I know. Obviously, we know people like Connor because they just become such a big name. Like everyone knows. But
he's another one that knows how to play the media game, though, too. Like he knows how to get a build up. Like his team knows how to get a build up. Go and box people. He doesn't care. He just runs his mouth and a lot. I fully believe that he a lot of the stuff he says he's behind, but he knows how to amp it up too to get people to pay attention.
Yeah, the man's a magician. for sure.
Yeah,
but now, as I just said, I kind of felt the curve of has kind of caught up to Conor. Are you going to be intrigued on his self-proclaimed comeback tour? Who he wants to fight?
Absolutely. So that's the thing too. Is like that goes back to the guy who knew how to sell the fight, but also a guy who could really fight. Like I always looked at him, and I definitely thought Conor was. He knew what the fuck he was doing, and even if he comes back now, like it's always the question: why are you fighting? Like he's no longer hungry for money. Back in the day, he wanted to.
That's what fueled
him. So it's like, okay, well, why? So he doesn't have to fight. He doesn't have to do this. He's doing it because he wants to. So that could lead one or two ways. It could be like he doesn't have the drive to do it, but he's just kind of just doing it for fun, or does he like really want to fucking like beat some ass? Is he gonna, how hard is he gonna train for it? And that's
what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna tune in. I'm gonna want to see which one he picked.
It's because it's gonna be about the training. That's how you're gonna know how serious he is. I mean, is he like? And that's something that most people won't know because most of that happens behind closed doors and stuff like that. You see what they let you see.
How serious is he gonna be when isn't his movie coming out this month? No, my son's the Conor fan. That's the difference. My son's the blowout Conor fan. I never really was a big fan of his. When he knocked out Eddie, I'm a Philly guy. He broke my heart right there.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Those days of Conor. So he was so hungry. He was so obsessed. He really wanted it. So he was after it. And now it's like, is he the same guy? Is he really want it? He has already got the money. It's what we got to find out.
I know you train, and I know you are serious about it. Obviously, you put in the miles and the work and all that stuff. Obviously, your diet, but you're also a family man. You got kids. Like, what's your cheat food?
They love going to get ice cream and stuff like that, but I do my best to keep the junk food out of the house. But they're kids, they want to. Yeah. And then even if I did, like, they just go to school and buy whatever they want or get whatever they want from their friends. They're coming home with shit all the time.
But I mean, like, you gotta have a cheat day. Like, is it pizza? Is it tacos? Is it a bag of Doritos on the weekend?
Nah.
Like, you just stay away from all of it.
My problem is I just overeat. Like, I'm a steak and potatoes guy.
There you go.
Like, 3 or 4 ribeyes in one sitting. We do barbecue some ribs or something like that. And I got a whole rack to myself. That's my problem is I gorge. But as far as sweets go, like I do eat like cheesecake and ice cream, stuff like that when it's around. But
the presser and weigh-ins for Ngannou and Joshua today.
Yeah,
are you intrigued for that one?
It's funny because I didn't know that was going on until I went to the gym and somebody asked me, like, who do you think you have? And then the discussion was, I'm like, I feel like everyone underestimates us MMA people. But I definitely am intrigued because I want to see what happens. You got an MMA guy, I think he just fought Fury and he did way better than people thought he was going to. And I feel like from us, when I say us, talk about MMA guys, like, we just have a different style. So we're a little bit unorthodox to these boxers. Boxers are used to seeing other boxers. So they get really good eyes for certain things. And that little bit of change, like,
comes how to read it.
Where, it's just a different thing. So
I heard you. I'm sorry. I heard you talking about the reach thing as far as the padded gloves versus the 4-ounce gloves and how that translate to bare knuckles. And you were already close, whereas the boxers, and it was like really clicked the light on when you said it, because I mean, that is like a 1 to 2 inch difference in
where
you're hitting.
Not only that, we can also go into, like, when you have boxing gloves on, it's a pretty good sized ball, so to speak, coming at you. So when I cover up in high guard, it's harder for you to split in between that little hole, opposed to if you're a fist, like, you can slide right in there. So going to BKFC and bare knuckle boxing, those MMA guys could kind of get in there a little bit better and find their targets a little bit better, and they already kind of had the distancing down. Where boxers, I've seen some of them, I forget who it was, a world champ a few times over or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he went in there, I think it was against James Brown. and he got cut up real bad and then wind up having to get the fight stopped because I feel like he kept going into high guard thinking like, oh, I'm safe here. Because in boxing, you are. But in bare knuckle, that's not where you want to be, at least not for very long. Like, we all get surprised. We all get hit, and we got to cover up because we can't just let them, catch us clean. But you definitely don't want to stay there because those little shots start getting in. Even though you're braced, you're not getting put out. You're getting cut up.
People talk about, and I watched when you did with Rashad Evans and like I said, Hughes and Franklin, GSP, all those guys. And they used to talk about at that time how you had MMA guys, you had the grapplers, and then you had the boxing guys. And that was one of GSP's big things is he really studied boxing. And that's how he really accredited that to his rise to the top was getting the boxing down. You've got the MMA. Do you think MMA fighters from your era, or even more so now, are getting more boxing training because of that? And then that's helping people like yourself branch out in these other areas. Do you feel like you had a leg up in the boxing arena before you crossed over?
Yeah, because I trained with Jahad, who is my boxing coach now, through my MMA days. And one of the things about it is like there's so many different schemes. So you really learn a lot of how to be crafty. There's so much that goes into it even from there. And then also like distancing. Like you learn to step and move with your head movement, with your punches and stuff like that. So if you were a good boxer who just understood wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you knew how to keep the distance and you knew when he came in there pretty much what you had to do. So like I felt like it was an advantage for me, just being able to dictate where I wanted to go. And since I also was a good wrestler, it made it that much easier. So second, I learned how to punch going forward, to get on the inside. Now I can grab you and take you down if I want, or if I'm like, hey, like I don't want to exchange this with this guy, or this guy's going to try to take me down. I could keep him at the end of my punches and keep this separation between us, keep the distancing. So
yeah. And I know you have a wrestling background, and when I used to instruct, that was always the thing. We love the wrestlers. The wrestlers always catch it up very easy because they're already reading body movements and stuff like that. The hardest thing was getting them to under
box than a boxer how to wrestle.
That's right. That's right. Because the only thing the wrestlers care about is being on their back. The wrestlers don't like being on their back. You got to teach them, no, that's okay. That's a good thing. Like, and once they get that down, they're great. They're fine with MMA. So
that's another thing too. When you talk about boxers facing like MMA guy or boxers facing the grappler guys and stuff like that, going to Tyson Fury and the guy he just fought that's fighting tomorrow. His name. Yeah, he's saying he's like you better be lucky basically that the boxing has rules that are set in to protect in front of me outside of the ring. You're nobody. That's 100% true. Like take care who it is, Floyd Mayweather, and take one of our lower level MMA guys and put him in a ring. Guess what? Floyd's still losing, because if you don't understand it all, it's kind of hard. Like
I don't know if you've seen it, Chris, but Francis' words exactly were to Tyson Fury. Your only chance is in the boxing ring.
Right.
Boxing rules. When you step out of that ring, you better stay 5 meters away from me before you talk your shit, because if I lose my temper, you're gonna have a really bad time.
Yeah.
Well, that was always one of the base lessons. That was one of the base lessons when I was instructing, like day one stuff, was that the reason you're here, the reason you're learning BJJ is because in the real world, most fights go to the ground. Like people don't usually stand there and box it out with each other. It either that's where it ends. If that's what they do, that's where it ends, and it doesn't last very long. Dave, if I want to do, before we give you the last word on the show, I like to do a little thing called Fox's Fast Five. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. I might ask you more because there is my fucking questions. But I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions. You answer them off the top of your head as fast as you can, and we'll have a good time. Number 1, your top 5 playlist.
Oh, fuck. I'm horrible, man. Like I really I don't listen to stuff like that.
Not even when you train. Like you don't have like hype music, something.
The go-to song you go in the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like whatever's on someone's playlist.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Like okay, all right. I won't make you go through all 5 then. If you weren't fighting, not counting your current job, unless that really is your dream job, but if you weren't fighting, you didn't have anything to do with fighting, what would you be doing?
Ripping lips every day, putting people on fish. I grew up, all my buddies who I grew up with are all captains now, and I'm the fucking weirdo who started fighting people.
I'll bet they won't tell you that though. What's your favorite thing to do with your kids according to them?
Probably fishing as well. Going boat, something like that. It's something to do with the water. They love tubing, so it might be tubing.
When's your anniversary?
November.
That's the challenge question right there. Don't worry. If you got it wrong, I would have edited it out. I would have saved you that.
No, you wouldn't.
Probably not. I probably wouldn't.
Dave doesn't make it to his next fight because his wife hit him with a frying pan.
And last question. I know you're into the cowboy hats and stuff. Like, what's your favorite brand? What hat do you like? What's your go-to?
I'm not a big brand guy, man. It's more if I got a big ass head, so like I gotta put these hats on and like make sure they fit, and then look in the mirror like, okay, it doesn't look goofy. I can ride with this one.
Do you wear them like on a normal? Obviously, you probably don't wear them to work, but like, do you normally wear them on, or is it more of an image
growing up?
It's your brand.
Like, for me, growing up, we only really wore them like special occasions, like weddings and stuff like that. So. That's just kind of where it stemmed from, and fights and stuff like that. So I just kind of like followed Cowboy Cerrone a little bit. I'm like, hey, he's on to something. I like this. And it just made sense to me.
We always give our guests the last word. Thanks to our man Steven here. He came up with it himself. You can tell us a story. You can give us your favorite anecdote. You can sit there and stare at the screen for a minute if you want. Whatever you want to do. This is our Want to Fight About It guest spotlight.
I want to thank you guys for your time, for having me on. I want to thank anybody who's paying attention to this, this podcast here. And fuck Mike Perry.
I love it. I love that you guys just take any chance. I love it. I absolutely do. I can't wait to see you two in the ring. Dave, we appreciate you coming on with us, man. I mean, taking a few minutes. Hopefully we didn't keep you up too late. Hope you have a great day at work together.
Best bedtime, but I'm gonna eat food and I'm gonna pass out.
There you go. Best to you and yours, your family, your kids, and best of luck in the fight when it happens. And we all hope that it happens. Be safe out there. Thanks everybody for watching. And I don't know, Steve, you got anything?
Nah, that's it, man. Dave, do your thing. Can't wait for the fight announcement, and we'll get you back on here, brother.
Awesome, bro. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Want to Fight About It. For Steve, I'm Chris Fox on behalf of Dave the Redneck Mundell, the champ, the belt.
Let's go.
We'll see you guys next time.